Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my ex have Father's Day with our kids so her husband can celebrate with them? Ex and I divorced 11 years ago. We have two teens ages 14 and 13. Kids live primarily with me, because when she left, it was to be with her current husband who lived in another town. I remained primary custodian because I wasn't a moving parent, she was, which was causing the upheaval. Anyway, they see the kids every other weekend, extended periods during summer, and for every other holiday. Ex and her husband have 3 kids together. Ex has always asked that we alternate Father's Day, since the kids have known him most of their lives and because they have siblings through him, it is important to celebrate the day as a family sometimes. I always said no, because they are my kids and I want to see them Father's Day. This year seems to be the year pissing them off most, because the kids are choosing to not spend extended period of the summer with them, and she thinks it's more important than ever for them to have that family time, for those memories to be made with their family. She and her husband have been texting me all morning with their annoyance at my decision. I even had her family on my case about it. It's weighed me down enough, and I have been called an a-hole enough that I have to ask, am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're their father, and your ex thinks you're somehow the a-hole for wanting to spend Father's Day with your own children? 100% not an a-hole. Yeah, because her husband has been a good father figure in their lives, and he is the father of their siblings. I don't fully believe it, but the doubt is there because this has been a constant in my year for about 2 months now. Sounds like she's putting her husband before her kids. Rude. She already did that when she abandoned them for him 11 years ago. Not a a-hole. Hell, most paperwork nowadays already has it pre-printed that the kids will spend Father's Day with their father and Mother's Day with their mother. Remind them that Father's Day is not a family holiday. It's about celebrating their father. And since he's not their father, they won't be spending it with them. If this pisses her off, so be it. Her pissiness is not your problem. Came here to say exactly this. It's standard for obvious reasons. OP, Father's Day is your holiday. Mother's Day is hers. Full stop. Not the a-hole. Info. What do the kids want? If they're choosing not to spend the summer with mom and stepdad, I think we can guess what they want. Info. According to the custody agreement, where are they supposed to be this day? With me. Same as she gets Mother's Day regardless of whether it's her actual weekend or not. Info. Do your kids see their stepfather as a father that they want to celebrate Father's Day with? Have you asked if they want to spend a day with him? In general, I would say not the a-hole since you are their biological father, with the caveat that if your kids want to spend the day with him, that should be respected, especially as they are getting older. From your post, it kind of sounds like your ex and her husband want to play perfect family, and you are under no obligation to help them do so. However, your kids are at an age where their opinions/wants, as they apply to these things, should take priority regardless of your personal opinion, assuming no abuse/neglect/safety issues/etc. And that it isn't going to create issues with legal custody type stuff. Otherwise, they may start to resent you. They don't see him as a father figure at all. He technically is, in that he has been in their lives since they were very young, and he has been acting as a paternal figure to them while they are there. But the kids do not consider him their father figure, and that actually became a point of contention a couple of years ago, because they went to an event with them the weekend before Father's Day a couple of years ago, and they made me something and not him. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my adult daughter the truth about why I wasn't in her life? Recently, I got back in contact with my adult daughter, Maddie, after having had nothing to do with her since her birth. She's 25 now, but honestly, I wasn't around from her birth all the way through when her mother died a couple years ago. Now, I know I'm not a perfect person here. I've done some bad things, but in this case, I don't think I was the bad guy. Maddie's mother and I dated for about a year after I graduated high school in '95, while I was just in college. I'll be honest, her mother was a rebound girl. Never thought it would be a long-term relationship or anything. We became close and did couple things, but I always made certain to use protection. Didn't want kids at that stage in my life, and thought I'd made it clear to Maddie's mother. After coming back from family vacation one summer, I'm surprised to find that her apartment was empty, and she's dropped off the face of the earth. Poof, gone. Over the past years, I often wondered what happened, but any attempts at searching for Maddie's mother failed. A couple months ago, I got a visitor out of the blue, and after some awkward moments, Maddie introduced herself as my daughter. She wanted to know her dad, but at the same time, I felt this hostility there. She was angry, rightly so, at me for not being in her life, and I got the impression this was I can say I met the bastard type of thing. She told me how her mother had died a couple years prior, only after finally telling her my full name and to go looking for me. It had taken her that long to finally track me down. She wanted to know everything I'd been doing to that point, while I still found it hard to believe. Eventually, she asked why I had never been in her life, and I told her 2 reasons. 1, I didn't know you existed, and 2, your mom completely vanished on me. She didn't believe this, and scoffed, but telling her my own story what happened seemed to mesh up with some things her own mom had told her. This has created a problem. Maddie practically hates her mother for what she did. She accepts that I didn't even know she existed and couldn't find her, so she can't fault me for that. However, she worshipped her mom, and now she's finding out that not only did her mom lie to her about the reason I wasn't around, but now she even questions about her own birth. Was it some stunt by her mother to force me to stay around? We talk from time to time, but her mom has gone from being respected to that lying witch, among other things. I genuinely feel bad about this, and wonder if I was the a-hole for telling the truth and destroying whatever memories Maddie had about her mother. So am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She deserved the truth. But I don't know why she thinks her mom got pregnant to keep you around if she ghosted you like that without ever telling you. It sounds a lot more like mom wanted a baby and didn't really want dad in the picture. Or else got pregnant by accident and left because she didn't want to deal with co-parenting. Or maybe she thought she was respecting the OP not wanting kids yet, and thought she was doing him a favor taking off and not involving him in the baby's life. Info. It doesn't make sense that this was a stunt to get you to stick around, as she didn't tell you she was pregnant. Is there a reason that you both rejected the most obvious answer? Your ex took you at your word that you didn't want a kid, accidentally got pregnant, was unwilling to have a termination or give the baby up, and decided to move on so you wouldn't have to be involved? I think this is not great behavior, but it's hardly the act of a monster. More like a confused young woman who wants her baby without dragging you into fatherhood. I had more information in the first post of this, but it exceeded the 3,000 character limit, so I fully expected the info questions. To answer your question, I had made it clear when we started dating that I was hurting. I'd experienced a very bad breakup with my high school sweetheart, and though we talked about it, I specifically told her that I felt that I wasn't ready, being just 19, yes, I failed 8th grade, to have kids. She would sometimes joke that, well, she wanted a child, but respected my feelings on the matter. We'd taken a break around the time my family and I went on vacation, and during that time, I'd largely grown over the relationship. Sure, it was nice and all, but after some serious soul-searching, I'd realized that I didn't love her, and I just loved the things we did together, both physical and otherwise. Today, I suppose you'd call her an FWB, but at the time I didn't know that term, being rather innocent about many things. Also, I don't know if this is worth noting, but she was 35. So yeah, I was a young guy with an older woman, and was loving most every minute of it. The fact that she was 35 to you're 19 really should have been in your original post. Also, please do not take me wrong, but have you had a paternity test just to make sure? I have, and it's been confirmed. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my sister stay with me after how she's treated my girlfriend? My girlfriend, 30 female, is currently 4.5 months pregnant, and we're living together. My ex-wife, 32 female, and I, 30 male, just barely finalized our divorce. It was a pretty messy ending. She had an affair and we separated. Around that time, I spent more time with a close friend of mine, now my girlfriend, who I've known for years. Months later, I realized we had feelings and pursued a relationship. When I filed for divorce, my ex spun the story and flipped it on me. No one in my family believed her, except for my sister, 28 female. And that was due to them being best friends. Throughout the whole ordeal, my sister took my ex's side, wouldn't stop bothering me about working things out with my ex since she's given me a chance after what I did to her. She was even more vicious to my girlfriend for absolutely no reason. Attacking her on social media, calling her a homewrecker. Myself and my family had to talk to her many times and I cut contact for a while. Then when we found out she was pregnant, my sister's first reaction was, "Congrats on your affair, baby." She texted that to me from a different number because I have her blocked and knew it was her. A week ago, my mom told me my sister wanted to speak to me. She apologized for everything, admitted she was completely immature, and coming from a place of anger towards me because she's been with my ex as a support, has been her shoulder to cry on, so she felt protective of her. During the same discussion, my sister mentioned needing some place to stay. So not only was she hoping we could make amends, but also wanted to know if it was possible to stay at our place. Suddenly, her apology didn't seem too sincere to me, and I said no. Especially not with how she treated my girlfriend. My mom is urging me to do this because my sister needs some place to stay, and it could be a way for her and my girlfriend to get to know each other better. And that I can't blame my sister for her reaction when she was just believing my ex's lies. My sister is begging me to help her out, and promises she'll be courteous to my girlfriend. My girlfriend thinks if I trust my sister, then she'll go along with what I think is best. But honestly, I don't, and wouldn't want to put my girlfriend in that position. Since I've doubled down on my decision, everyone thinks I'm being too hard on her for believing someone else's lies and now refusing to help her. I feel like suddenly I'm the only one sane here since everyone seems to be bothered by this, especially my sister won't let it go. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. She should have believed her brother over some witch that cheated on you. Like you, I wouldn't put, if I was a guy, my pregnant girlfriend in that situation. Stress can be bad for a baby. That's my concern. Exactly. I tell her you're willing to start talking with her again, but not the moving in portion. If she doesn't accept that, then you do know she was only apologizing to get a place to stay. Info. And she can't stay with your mom because... My mom's a couple-hour drive away. Her job is here. But also, she wants us to make amends, so that's a big reason why she's pushing it. Not a-hole. Tell your family that this rift between you and your sister didn't happen overnight, and it won't be repaired overnight. Someone posted about a public apology in social media. I think that is a great starting point. And it will take time and baby steps for her to prove herself to you and your girlfriend. I don't think that's fair to you or your girlfriend to ask you to have your sister move in, no matter how temporary it's supposed to be. This is your first baby, a new experience, and you and your girlfriend should be able to experience it in any way you see fit. Wait till her libido goes into overdrive. And you can't do that with your sister in your back pocket. Good luck, and congratulations. Didn't think about a public apology. Feel that's something necessary regardless of whether or not that's a start to her making amends for what she did to my girlfriend. Forgiveness will be up to my girlfriend since she was the one mostly out through the ringer. I agree though. This is a time for us to spend together and grow as a family without any house guests. Oh, believe me, I've noticed. And thank you. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my kid's stepmother she doesn't get to make rules for my home in front of my former in-laws? I share 2 sons, 11 male and 7 male, with my ex. He left me for his wife 3 years ago. They got married right after the divorce. I mentioned this because there are some tensions present due to this and also due to the fact my former in-laws and I got along so well and have not been welcoming towards ex's new wife. So anyway, ex and his wife put the boys in football and church thing on their time. Ex actually signed them up for all the time, but neither boy likes those activities. Ex says in his house they must do them. I say fine, but they won't do them with me. Ex's wife is the one with the biggest issue with my decision. She is very religious and believes boys should play sports and attend church. About a week ago, my oldest was picking up a certificate from one of his chosen extracurriculars, and me, ex, and his wife were there while ex's parents and sister were outside waiting to celebrate. Ex's wife starts telling the boys that they need to do the church thing that Saturday afternoon whether they like it or not, which was my parenting time, not ex's, and that they need to sign up for some other stuff for football which also fell in my parenting time. When we go outside, without the boys, they were with ex, I told her she did not get to make rules or demands in my home, and she better not do that again the way she did. Ex's family backs me up and says she's not their parent, etc. She gets super pissed at me for doing that around them, and then when my ex finds out, she tells me I'm a a-hole and should have waited and discussed it after. I told him I only care about the boys not hearing, and that he needs to nip the crap in the bud if he doesn't want stuff like that to happen again. She told me I made it even harder for their family to get along now and I should be ashamed. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. It's your home and something the kids don't even want to do. Like, I could understand if she was trying to get you to take them to a doctor's appointment or something, but just to some BS that only she gives a crap about? Nah, she can stuff it. Plus, she did it in front of the in-laws, so it should be dealt with in the same manner. She needs to butt the hell out of parenting those kids. She's not a parent and has zero rights in this matter. Not they Hull. They obviously don't have any boundaries if they were okay with cheating and starting marriage over your misery. It's not surprising that she feels entitled to overstep your parenting as well. I'm just wondering, what kind of a religious person is okay with stealing another woman's husband, though? The kind who believes she saved him from the big bad atheist who is only going to damn him when he dies. And I know this because she has tried to interfere when X asked me to get the boys baptized, and I said no, because I don't consent to that stuff. She is very religious and believes boys should play sports and attend church. I don't care. She's not their mother. Football is dangerous, and I don't agree with religious training of children. I'd probably already be in court dealing with this. How dare she order your kids around, much less in front of you? Edited to add, Perpy, it is American football which was the sport I'm referencing. X's family backs me up and say she's not their parent, etc. They're correct. They have every right to not like a woman that targeted a married man, per your comments.
Am I the idiot for refusing to take care of my kid? My friend, 26 female, and I, 26 male, go back since elementary, and we have been close friends since then. Our families are also close, so I don't have any attraction to her as a girlfriend. I see her like a sister. Most of my girlfriends have been okay with her, and I try to make it clear the divide we have as friends. My fiancé is close friends with my friend, and has been friends with her since before our relationship, and so it hasn't been any issues until now. Recently we had a get-together, where my friend said she couldn't drink since she was pregnant. We were all shocked since she was single, and she admitted that she fooled around with her ex, and that might have gotten her pregnant. Her ex is across the country and not a good guy, so she really messed up her life with this. I asked her if she was going to keep the baby, thinking she might not, but she exclaimed she would, because I could help her raise it. My girlfriend stared at her, and I managed to ask why she thought that. She said we were best friends, so I would be the father and help raise the child. I asked her, where did you get that idea? And she got annoyed and said, you were always there for me and already like a husband, so I should be there for her son like a father. I was shocked, because yes, if she need help with her car, I used to be a mechanic, I would help since she makes minimum wage and can't afford one. But I didn't think she would take it as me wanting to be her child's father, or help raise it. I took a deep breath and told her I would always be her friend. But I'm not the father, so I'm not helping to raise her child. And I'm not going to take a father role. She got mad and yelled at me for abandoning her, and started crying. A few of my friends were shaking their heads and called me later to tell me I should have been nicer. But I felt like if I was nicer, she wouldn't have gotten it. And I wanted to make the situation crystal clear. My fiancé is mad because obviously it's caused a huge mess. My saving grace is that my fiancé and I were in another place visiting her family, and traveling for the month when the baby was conceived, so no one thinks I'm the actual father. My friend has been trying to call me, and I'm not sure if I should respond. Now for the top comments. Not the idiot. Her thinking she could dump the responsibility of parenthood on you like this is just ridiculous. I'm hoping she's just not thinking clearly right now, and not that she's just this selfish of a person. Reminds me of the married daughter who planned for and became pregnant, then told her father she expected him to babysit/raise the kid, because she did not want to change her lifestyle. Reminds me of the roommate with a child who wanted the OP, who was not the father, to pay child support and help raise the child. She claimed her child imprinted on the OP. Guess they were werewolves or something. Not the idiot. You needed to shut it down firmly and completely. Tell all those friends they can step up and be a father for her child. Exactly. She needs to understand what her options are in reality, before it's too late to terminate the pregnancy. That is if she even lives in a state that will allow her to. Not the idiot. Run. Run away. Run away very fast. Yeah, OP needs to distance himself of this friend, or he'll end up fathering a child that has zero relations to him and without his fiancé, because of this so-called friend. Yes, listen to this OP, and run. This story will get morphed and massaged if you don't shut it down. To everyone. Just in that brief interaction, it went from, you've always been there for me, and became, you're abandoning us. I give it 2 months, and you'll hear back that you're actually the father. You're not. You know you're not, but who are people going to side with? The crying pregnant woman, or the engaged dude talking about how he's not the father? Not the idiot. Time to help your friend get some therapy, and for you to step back fast. Next story. Am I the idiot for ruining my brother's marriage because his wife left me at the pool? This whole situation is so bizarre that I still can't really process it. It still doesn't feel real, but I feel scared and guilty. I, 19 female, had surgery a couple days ago to get all 4 of my wisdom teeth out, and because I have a really bad fear of dentists, they had to drug me pretty hard to do the removal. Not like laughing gas that wears off really fast, but actual IV medicine, so I was pretty much unconscious during the whole thing. They told me to have a responsible adult drive me to the appointment and back, because the meds they gave me would make it dangerous to drive. My mom was on a work trip and couldn't take me, so I asked my sister-in-law Bri 24, not her real name, if she could do it, as the whole thing would only take an hour or 2. I even offered gas money because the dental office is about 45 minutes away. I would have asked my brother, but he works during the day, while Bri is a stay-at-home mom to their 2-year-old daughter who I think was at Bri's mom's house that day. Bri agreed to take me to my appointment, and the surgery went fine. Bri waited in the lobby for me to be done. When I came out of anesthesia, I was very disoriented and nauseous, which I guess is normal. I had gauze shoved in my mouth to stop any bleeding, and Bri took me to her car after I was let go. I don't really remember much of the drive, but it felt like not enough time passed before Bri got out of the car and told me to come with her. I was really out of it and just followed her, because the alternative was staying in the hot car. Long story short, we were at a pool. I was really confused, but once we were through the gate, Bri basically parked me at one of those little table benches, said she'd be back in a while. I was still trying not to puke and was really dizzy from the 90+ degree heat and the meds, so I asked her to take me home. But she wouldn't. I guess since it was her day off and she didn't have my niece, she was meeting friends at the pool. I was starting to feel really sick and on the verge of passing out or having a panic attack, so I called my brother. I don't think he could understand me between the meds and the stuff in my mouth, because he hung up and I guess called Bri, because she came stomping back over, cussing and yelling at me, and took me back to the car. I passed out on the drive home, but when we arrived, my brother had left work and met us in the driveway. He was screaming at Bri and she was crying. I was still pretty disoriented, but my brother took me back home and stayed with me until the meds wore off. That's when he told me he's divorcing Bri because of what she did, plus some other things he didn't go into detail about. It's been a few days since then and Bri has been blowing up my phone, telling me what a witch I am, and how me tattling destroyed her family. Part of me feels bad because of my niece, and I wonder if I should have just dealt with it and waited for her to be done at the pool, instead of calling my brother and causing problems. Am I in the wrong? He's divorcing Bri because of what she did, plus some other things. OP, you are not the reason they're getting a divorce. But if you find out the reason, please come back and update because inquiring minds want to know. Not the idiot. That's exactly it. This is the one that broke the camel's back. I wouldn't be surprised if she mistreats the niece or ditches her parental responsibility to have fun with friends, and this was the last straw. To be honest, it was a pretty big straw. To me, it's literally instant divorce reason, from 0 to 100. OP could have died. If my fiance had neglected my sister like that, after agreeing to do the supervision, she would be out yesterday. That said, OP is obviously not at fault. People who do bad things always blame the snitch. Well, OP has the stitches already. But yeah, sister-in-law dug her own grave here. At least she didn't dig OP's. Exactly, on meds like that, in her condition, she easily could have stumbled into the pool and drowned. Like, there is a reason you are required to have a responsible adult to get you home safely. Not the idiot, not remotely, and you did not ruin their marriage. The other things your brother didn't detail. Sounds like Bri's treatment of you was a last straw. Since Bri referred to it as tattling, there is a good chance she was lying to your brother about what she was doing that day. Maybe he was mad that Bri lied about who was watching their daughter. Maybe she was meeting some guy at the pool, or had been obviously thirsty over the lifeguard. Whatever it was more than the already vile behavior of leaving someone in pain and doped to the gills, just parked in the heat while she had fun at the pool. This is in no way your fault. Not the idiot. Next story is titled, Am I the idiot for pulling all my money from the account after he refused to stop making comments about me getting a job? 30 female, and I'm currently unemployed for the first time since I was 15. Even prior to when I would switch jobs, I already had employment lined up, so there was never a break between paychecks. My husband will have dry spells where he won't work for some months at a time, get a job, and hardly ever sticks with it for more than 6 months before he quits and takes a break. I didn't quit my last job. The company went belly up and didn't tell us until people were coming in and shutting us down. I've been 1 month without a steady income, but I've been searching endlessly. This all came to a standstill when my husband's engine blew up in his car, So now, he takes mine to work and leaves me at the house. So now I need something from home and it's damn near impossible. If you know of anything remote entry level that doesn't require degrees, please let me know. Currently, my husband works Monday to Friday 8 to 4, and just got a pay raise/promotion 2 weeks ago. Since he got his promotion, he has been breathing down my neck about me getting a job. He sees all the applications I've sent out, and still comments on it, as if that will help the situation. I currently have $8,600 sitting in the bank from my last job, which would pay our rent for 8 months, so his comments are really starting to anger me, and I've told him several times to get off my case. I've even suggested I go and work with him because he is taking my car and making things impossible, and he apparently doesn't think it's a good idea. Anyways, he started in with the whole my money argument, but only when it's convenient for him. Like when he refers to tax returns, it's our money. I get significantly more back than he does. But when it comes to other stuff, he says my money this, my money that, and it only just started when he got the promotion. He had no problem living off my money though the entire time he was unemployed because that was our money. Like I said though, I have money stashed so I don't need anything from him. But he made a comment the other day saying, "You need a freaking job," and it was the last straw for me, so I took my car and left to go withdraw every penny I had in the bank account and stick it in an account he can't touch. That left him with a little over $900 because the rest of the thousands were mine. He flips out and says I'm being financially controlling, when in all actuality, it's him. Am I wrong? You know what? Tomorrow, I'll drive around and hand out resumes using my car. Then I'll take my money and find a place to stay, because I'm not interested in a relationship where I'm supportive when you don't have a job for months on end, and you're being an asshole right back the second I'm without one. Enjoy your money in your car, not the idiot. This is exactly the right amount of pettiness. I love it. OP, please do this. Protecting yourself and standing up for yourself isn't petty. Taking back your property and money when someone keeps disrespecting you and downplaying your contributions isn't being petty. I know your heart is in the right place because you're saying you support what she's doing, but we gotta stop framing it as being petty when someone just refuses to be used. Keep your money in your account and take your car back too. If he wants to play the mind game like a temper tantruming 2-year-old, just show him exactly how much is his, not the idiot. I'm going to have to do this with my boyfriend soon. He thinks we pay 50-50 on everything, and I have the math to show it's more like 75-25, me taking the brunt of the financial issues. He even got a referral bonus from work which he immediately used to buy himself a PS4, but made a side comment about me using my incoming bonus to buy him shoes. Kinda waiting for him to blow up on that to put him in his place. Not the idiot, and good for you. Keep your money separate and only pay for your portion of things, and also take back your car since you know it's yours. If he's going to pull the my money game, then he can suck it up and go buy his own car. I very rarely advocate for separate finances in a marriage, but in this case it is time to erect a lead wall between your finances and his. Let him live off of his largesse, and from now on he is responsible for 50% of all household expenses, his own transportation in all circumstances, all automotive costs from insurance to license and registration, and all of his own expenses. Why would you advocate against separate finances? My partner and I decided a long time ago that all shared expenses would be split 50-50. We have the ability to transfer money directly to each other for bills that one of us pays. But for all discretionary spending, we keep everything separate. That way we can't run into the exact type of issue OP is talking about. What do you see as a negative about that? Now for the last story. Am I the idiot for telling my mother-in-law that she needs to compromise to stay with us? My in-laws are getting a divorce. Only reason I can get is that he is done dealing with her. Despite being in their 70s, my father-in-law decided to go about it the worst possible way and is currently forcing freezes on their bank accounts and managed to kick her out of the house. She needs a place to stay for at least a few months, and now she's coming to my husband and I for help. Of course, I'm not going to leave someone I actually know who's vulnerable go out on the street, but unfortunately the help we can give is limited. We can only offer her the Dave that's in the living room. She's not okay with this and wants not only a bedroom, but a living condition in our house that isn't possible with what the house is. She wants a bedroom with an en-suite, so she can be able to be separate from everyone else in the house for hygienic reasons. Well, me too, and there isn't an en-suite bedroom in the house. The bedroom I share with my husband kind of is, but that bathroom is also accessible from the kitchen, and I'm not going to ban everyone else from using it when there would be 4 other people in the house. There isn't even an available bedroom. My husband wants to force my sister to be on the day bed, because she doesn't pay rent and is on disability. But that's not fair. My sister may not work or pay rent, but she provides all of our childcare needs for our daughter, technically owns half the house because it's from our parents, and pays for the entire household's groceries. She absolutely should be here and have a bedroom. Our daughter also needs a bedroom. With how small the house is, 1,200 square feet, all of her toys and books need to stay in one room anyway, her room. My husband and I giving up our bedroom to my mother-in-law doesn't make sense either. Putting one person in a queen and two people on a twin. No, mother-in-law says she wouldn't feel safe on the daybed, and is appalled that we're so disrespectful to our elders. I don't hate her, and my parents would be weirded out by it too, but it feels like times have changed and she has to deal with it here. My husband and mother-in-law both got angry at me for not even being willing to give her a bedroom so she can feel a little bit safe. There's nobody here that it would make sense to displace. Even if I gave her my daughter's bedroom, she would need to spend almost as much time there as she does now because her stuff can't be moved. My husband thinks that I'm holding my family over his, and acting like real help is somehow first come, first served. Of course not, but between my mother's and my husband's medical bills, we don't have spare money. We're stable, but it is not an option to get a larger place or help her financially at all. It's not like his sister can help her because she lives in a studio, but I'm at least offering something. They've been on me for days about this and I don't know what to do. Am I missing something here? Not the idiot. She wants you to kick somebody out to make room for you, and your husband agrees. Maybe your husband and his mother can go live somewhere else together. Not just that, she wants to displace someone who owns the home. Yeah, the idea that her sister should be paying rent when she's half owner of the home is screwed, and she provides childcare and food. I bet if OP actually calculated her sister's contributions in dollars, husband would have to eat crow. Not the idiot. Your option for her is spot on. Your sister has a right to the home and is doing so much for your family. Your child is, well, your child. It's her house too. Mother-in-law is a temporary guest. She also needs to figure out her own situation as she's an adult. Your husband can help her navigate the courts, finding a place, and so on. People who are without a place to stay should be grateful for a place to stay. The daybed is safe. 1. I would expect the next move will be mother-in-law can take care of your daughter, and your sister should be booted out. Watch for this, it will make sense to mother-in-law as she's there. 2. Moving her into any of the bedrooms will make it much harder for her to leave. She needs to be a bit uncomfortable to honestly accept her situation. 3. Husband and mother-in-law will make your life difficult. As a last resort, remind your husband that the house is yours and your sister's. I think it's generous and right to offer her the daybed for the time being, but I wouldn't encourage her displacing those who live in the home. This, do not let mother-in-law get her feet too far under the table, or you'll never see the back of her. Your husband also needs to grow a spine here and back you up.
Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-wife's fiancé the truth about our divorce? My 33 male ex-wife, 30 female, and I got divorced 3 years ago. In college, we worked at the same restaurant. That's where we met. We were together for 7 years and married for a little over 3.5. We divorced because she cheated, twice. 2 years into our marriage, I discover she's having an affair with a former classmate. I collect enough evidence and confront her. She confesses everything. The affair was about 2 months long. This was a really terrible time and was really hard to work through with her. You can call me an idiot, but I'm a forgiving person. I do believe in second chances and that people can change. We agreed to reconcile. We did the work. We had marriage counseling. We read some of the books. She went no contact with classmates right away. Open phone policy. We told our parents. She was doing the right things and our relationship was recovering. 1 year into our reconciliation, her aunt dies. I am very busy with work and cannot attend the services, as they are on Thursday and Friday back in her hometown 5 hours away. Her parents and brother no longer live there, so she stayed with a good friend from high school. I had met this friend a few times and was comfortable with that. On Saturday morning, my wife texted me that the car was loaded and she was about to start making the drive home. About an hour after that, I got a Facebook message from the friend, who stated she wouldn't be able to live with herself if she just let this go, but informed me that my wife had gone out Friday night with some old friends from high school. The friend thought nothing of this until she discovered my wife had left her phone behind and that she didn't come back until the following morning. I had gotten a text that Friday night from my wife that she was going to bed early since the past few days had been emotionally draining. I confronted my wife as soon as she got home. She was really hesitant to tell me anything, so I lied to her and told her that if we were going to work through this, I needed to know everything like the last time. That got her to confess that she had gone out and had gone home with an old friend from high school. She said they didn't have sex, but did do stuff that I won't go into detail about here. It didn't matter. Once I got enough of the truth, I left for my parents' house. That week, my dad called my landlord and paid all the termination fees and got me out of the lease. We went and got my stuff while she was at work. My parents then set me up with a friend of theirs that was a divorce attorney, and he cut me a deal. Took about 7 months for divorce to go final. That was 3 years ago. I have an awesome girlfriend and I'm doing well. This past weekend, I got a Facebook message from a guy who is now engaged to my ex-wife. He introduced himself and said he was probably just being crazy, but he wanted to know why we had gotten divorced. He said he had broached the subject a few times, and she always gets weird. She had told him we had divorced because we grew apart, but mostly she just deflects, or is really, really vague. I told him the truth and offered evidence if he would like. He declined and thanked me for my time and story. A day later, I get a phone call from a local but unknown number. I answer and it's my ex-wife. She is really upset and asking me why I'm trying to ruin her future. I get her to come down and talk. She says her fiancé has asked for some space and is staying with his parents this week. That he is saying he needs to reevaluate their relationship. She wants to know why I told him all about our past and why I'm still punishing her. She tells me she's not that person anymore and has done all this work and been in therapy. That she deserves another chance and I'm being petty and hateful. There were a few generic insults thrown. I got a little mad and told her if she really changed for the better, she would have been upfront with him about her/our past and owned up to cheating in her prior marriage. And then gone about showing her fiancé that she was ready to be a worthy partner to him and like she was with me. Instead, she tried to lie and hide the truth, and now it's blowing up in her face again. She said a few choice words and hung up. I haven't heard anything since. I told my girlfriend and she reassured how I handled it. But I find myself feeling guilty. I still believe in second chances and that people can change. While I would have felt wrong lying to the guy, I wonder if I should have handled the whole thing differently or just not responded. If she is truly different and this is just a blip, I don't want to be the thing that prevents her from finding happiness, but also believe I'm not what's hurting her engagement. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. He wouldn't have reached out if he didn't see any red flags. I think this is the answer. There is a reason he sought OP out. He clearly had concerns about the relationship. OP, I don't think you're in the wrong. I think your response to both your ex and her fiancé were correct. Hopefully your ex will learn to truly do the work and find a way to be honest with her current fiancé or future relationships if this one decides he can't stick with her. Not a-hole. Yes, exactly. Also, if she had changed, she would have been honest about it. But instead, she was cagey and lying, which is the exact same behavior as when she cheated. So no, she isn't a different person. She hasn't changed in one iota. Not a-hole. I'm like you. I would feel guilty because at a glance, it seems like being honest about your experience caused your ex to potentially lose her relationship. However, you are holding yourself accountable for someone else's actions. Your ex cheated. Your ex withheld information from her current partner. Your ex is still avoiding accountability. You are not responsible for her actions. Anything that happens in her relationship is her problem, not yours. Thank you for this. I got to remind myself of that. I hate causing others pain, so I'm glad to hear from someone who can relate. She made the choices. You simply answered the question honestly. Dude deserves the facts. Focus on him, not her. Her actions, then and now, caused her pain, not you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not willing my house to my girlfriend after she put her house up for sale when moving in with me? I, male 53, was married for 20 years, and my wife passed away 4 years ago. We had no children, so many years ago we both did our wills. In our wills, we gave each other everything, and if we both died, then everything would go to my wife's nieces and nephews. I have no living relatives. One of the reasons I did this was because my wife's parents had some money, and my wife inherited several $1,000,000 from them. One of the things we did with her inheritance was we bought our dream house. It's a big house, about 4,500 square feet, and has a 1,500 square foot garage out in the country. About a year ago, I met Samantha, 55 female. She has her own house, but she would always come over to my house and spend the night. We got to talking, and I said she could move in with me. Samantha has a daughter who is 25 and asked if she could move in too. My basement is pretty big, with a small kitchen and a few extra bedrooms, etc. So I didn't mind. Samantha is in the process of selling her house, and she asked me if I would put in my will that she would get my house if I died. I told her, no, that was for my in-laws' money, and that should go all to my nieces and nephews as it says in my will. Samantha argues that if I die and she has no house, she will have no place to live. I told her, yeah, you get the money from the sale of your house, plus you won't have a mortgage payment. So take that money and put it in a money market account. I was pretty put off by this conversation because from my point of view, Samantha would have zero expenses and she could put all her money into savings, minus whatever she wants to buy herself. Not like she doesn't have a job. We got heated over this conversation and Samantha said that I was trying to control her with money. When she said that, I told her that maybe this relationship wasn't such a good idea. So am I the a-hole here? Not the a-hole. I would tell Samantha that you aren't being controlling. You aren't asking for any of her money and you ask that she does the same of you. If this is a problem, then she shouldn't sell her house and live with you. You were just setting the expectation that your house will go to your late wife's family. Samantha should not sell her house honestly. If I were in her shoes, I would turn it into a rental property or let the daughter live there for at least a year before selling. This OP. Girlfriend needs to keep her house and rent it to her daughter or another tenant. She is in no way entitled to inherit a house purchased with money belonging to your deceased wife and her family, which you wanted left to them at OP's passing. You may or may not be surprised to know how often this scenario sets up this way. I'm actually surprised your wife's attorney didn't insist upon making sure your joint wills didn't set in stone as soon as she passed. My parents did their wills that way after watching multiple second wives of friends inherit all of the first wife's estates, cutting out the first wife's children entirely. My friend's dad remarried after her mom died. Her parents had an agreement that mom's half of everything would go to their kids. Her dad changed his will, so everything would go to the new wife, even her mom's jewelry. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband he can't divorce me and still consider himself my daughter's stepdad? My 42 female 16-year-old daughter is not my husband's biological daughter. Her dad decided after I got pregnant that the mom of his child wasn't the woman he wanted to marry and is not in her life. It was just me and my daughter for the next 7 years until I married my husband. We had 3 kids in quick succession after we got married. There are now 8 male, 7 female, and 5 female. I recently found out I was pregnant and that has made my marriage worse. My daughter's dad first lived off of others giving him money to be an equestrian. He later, I found out, started getting hired as riding instructor / helped others take care of their horses. His inconsistent income / 1099 status was what he used to dodge his financial responsibilities. I started my daughter on this path as a hobby, but it was clear that she was talented. I would work a second job as a stable aide so that she could afford lessons, would drive other kids to and from lessons, and do other odd jobs to put towards her training expenses, until I married my husband and became a stay-at-home mom. My husband was very supportive of her pursuit until she entered high school. We were looking into possible future scholarships, which I understand are rare, to come out of her competing, or college with equestrian programs. My husband started lying about how my daughter did not want to do this, and how he loves her more than me because he understands her better. He embarrassed me by complaining about the other moms whose kids competed, saying they were snobs, or that he didn't want me to try to fit in with them or get their approval. Then he'd complain to parents about the new group lesson costs, etc. I found out I was pregnant and went with my daughter to an event and got too sick and tired to attend a school open house, and he flipped out on me when he came home. We got into a fight, and he told me that this isn't working out. I feel he says that to scare me, but I was not scared of divorce, because I'm not going to grovel for his approval, and I can make it work without him. I told him I'll happily grant his divorce. He then says he wants joint custody of all the kids. I told him that, legally, he has no grounds with my daughter. He says she can still come to his place when he has the other kids, and I remind him she doesn't have a license and I don't owe him any agreement to drive her to his place. He screams, "She is my stepdaughter. I've been her dad." I told him he cannot just want to divorce his pregnant wife and get the benefits of that, including my general cooperation with his divorce, and still claim the title of my daughter's stepdad. He can't have his cake and eat it too. Legally, I am in the right, since I never adopted her. He does not want to support my 16-year-old's goals. With a divorce, he doesn't have the responsibility that being an equestrian parent entails. All her bills will be coming out of my account. But that means he cannot just continue to enjoy all the benefits of that without any of the responsibility. I don't think that's fair. I told my daughter that her stepdad wants a divorce because he absolutely hates paying for her lessons. Says they are making her into a snob like me and the other moms. She's a people pleaser, so should say yes to seeing him just to not hurt his feelings. But she has said that if he really hates her because she wants to be an equestrian, then she just wants to continue her passion. And it seems most conducive to do so where she's living with me and not seeing somebody who actively wants to stop her future dreams. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. It sounds like you're weaponizing your daughter because your husband wants a divorce. Has he actually said these things about her and her lessons? Something seems a bit off with the story. That's what I took away from this post. My daughter has an expensive hobby. My husband can't afford it, so I'm divorcing him and refuse to let him see the daughter he raised. To make it easier for her to hate him, I am blaming the divorce on my husband not wanting to support her. If you want to pay for your daughter so bad, then get a job to pay for her hobby and stop blaming your husband to alienate him from your daughter. He raised her and he wants custody of her. Are you going to divorce him and tell your daughter, well, it looks like none of your fathers love you. At least her siblings have a father. I'm sure that will work out great for her well-being and mental health. Also, the message to the daughter, your hobby caused you to lose your stepdad. Super messed up. Even if it were true, I wouldn't tell a kid that. Does your daughter want him in her life still? And you told her that he wants to divorce you because of her lessons? Wow. Yeah, you're the a-hole for that alone. That is honestly the worst thing you could do in a divorce. I can't fathom a parent inflicting pain on their child to hurt their partner. Both the daughter and husband deserve so much better than OP. She's literally treating her daughter like a personal vendetta tool. No consideration for ripping away the man she obviously seemed to have considered a father. Legally, he has no right? Get out of here. Truly Mother of the Year. And by the way, knowing the culture around horses, I am very liable to agree with the father's version of events. Last story. Am I the a-hole for resenting my wife for not believing my side of the story? I, male 46, have been married to my wife, Heather, female 45, for 18 years. We have 2 kids, 16 female and 14 male. We work for the same company, but in different departments. She works on a different floor of our building. We recently hired a new employee, Sarah, female 30. I helped her a lot with her training and even prepared a guide for her so she could catch up on the new role quickly. I told her she could drop by anytime if she had a question. She kept coming to my desk to chit-chat. Even my coworker Chris, who shares an office with me, noticed. I thought she was new and lonely, so not a big deal. She asked me to go out for lunch with her. I laughed and joked, asking if Chris wanted to join us for lunch. Then Sarah looked at me and said no. She meant just us to talk. Plus, she wanted to buy me lunch because I'd been so nice to her. Chris gave me a look. I told her she didn't have to and that I was just doing my job. She insisted and I agreed. During lunch, she started rubbing my hand. I moved my hand and changed the topic to my wife, bringing her up repeatedly. She eventually said she found me attractive and wanted to be more than friends, suggesting we start with friends with benefits and see where it goes. She said she thought I wasn't happy in my marriage because I was having lunch with her and laughing, while she never saw me having lunch with my wife. I told her I was married and wanted to keep our friendship professional. She didn't like my reply and became quiet. I apologized, but she said it was all good. I paid a bill for both of us since it was so awkward, and we went back to work. I received a letter from HR telling me they needed to talk to me because Sarah filed a complaint. She said I'd ask her out for lunch, been inappropriate and handsy, and even pressured her to sleep with me, but she left. I was floored. Luckily, my coworker Chris can confirm my side of the story. I immediately told my wife the whole thing and she got furious at me. She said she believed Sarah's side because she stands by the victim. I told her Sarah was lying. Chris can confirm she invited me. Also, I wasn't inappropriate. I didn't touch her and turn her down. My wife rolled her eyes and said Sarah is a gorgeous woman much younger than me, implying I took advantage of her. I was so annoyed. I've always been faithful to her. How could she possibly think of me like this? Luckily, the HR issue was resolved, and I just have to do some training. I asked to move to another team, so I won't be working with Sarah anymore. Am I the a-hole for resenting my wife for not believing my side? For taking her side without any proof? I basically barely talked to my wife since the incident. This will get lost in the sea of comments, but I'm wondering if the restaurant has a video recording of the dining area. You could prove you're telling the truth really quickly with a recording of her getting handsy and you pulling away. I'm gonna check with the restaurant. It's a small cafe/restaurant within walking distance of our office. Speaking of intel, I wonder what her behavior/performance was like at her previous jobs. The fact she pursued you and then reported false accusations to HR this quickly into a new job suggests a level of diabolical confidence, in my opinion. A reckless immaturity, I guess. Regardless, something ain't right, and I wouldn't be surprised if this was some kind of MO for her. I don't know how you could safely investigate her past, but something to think about. Not the a-hole, obviously. This is just a perfect example of the double standard that men deal with in these types of situations. Your wife should know you well enough by now to know the truth. Several comments support exactly the conclusion you're reaching here. This type of lying/double standard can ruin someone's life so easily. It can, and it has. I'm a woman, and I think women who lie about things like this and destroy lives on a whim are one of the lowest forms of human scum. Not only is OP a direct victim of this woman's reputation-ruining lies, but every woman who legitimately had something happen to her and was not believed is also an indirect victim. There should be harsh consequences for women that lie about assault. I understand why there isn't, but it's absolutely infuriating to see anyone do something like this and walk away from the wreckage with no repercussions.
Am I wrong for not allowing my sisters to come spend Christmas with me and my family? I, 29 male, am my parents' only child together. My dad, 55 male, had an affair, which resulted in a pregnancy, and my mom left him over it. The woman had twin girls, Bella and Amy, both 19, and I deeply resented all three of them for many years. With time and therapy, I was able to let go of most of my anger, but I will never be close to Bella and Amy and just opted to be polite whenever I saw them or their mom. In a tragic twist of almost laughable karma, it was revealed that the woman my dad left my mom for wasn't as true to him as she led him to believe, and that Bella and Amy weren't his. It got nasty, and they divorced when Bella and Amy were 16. My dad agreed to still be a part of Bella and Amy's lives at the time and so opted for 50-50 custody. However, after a health scare, Bella decided she wanted to find and reach out to her bio dad, and while my dad wasn't happy about it, Bella soothed his worries when she stated that it would only be for medical purposes, as she had no desire to have him in her life. My dad helped Bella find him and they had a meeting and never said anything about it again. Unfortunately, it was revealed that Bella lied and was still seeing her dad in secret, and Amy eventually joined her. My dad wasn't happy about it and there was an argument, but when Amy brought up how it was their right to see their dad, something in my dad snapped. He got quiet and told the girls that they were right, and when Amy and Bella left to spend the summer with their dad and his family, my dad put the house up for sale, moved all of Amy and Bella's things to a storage unit, deleted his social media, and changed his number. My dad then sent a letter to Bella and Amy to their mom's place, explaining what he had done, and that they had 30 days before he cut off all financial support, like college funds, phones, etc., saying that since their bio dad is so important, that he can be their father fully. My dad hasn't spoken to the girls since, and his side of the family is on his side thinking that Bella and Amy are ungrateful and just as disrespectful as their mom. Bella and Amy have reached out to me to help them see and talk to my dad again, but I don't want to get involved. I don't even know where to find him, we just call, text, or FaceTime each other. My father finally reached out asking if he could come spend Christmas with me, my wife, our daughter, and my wife's parents, and I agreed. I'm not sure how, but Bella and Amy found out and told me that they were going to over too. Not ask, but told. I said no. I know that eventually my dad is going to have a talk with Bella and Amy, but I don't want that drama at my house during my daughter's first Christmas. I told my dad about Bella and Amy, and he said that he said everything he needed to in his letter and has no desire to talk to them. I told Bella and Amy that they are not welcomed, and now they, along with their family and friends, are calling me the bad guy. Am I wrong? Now for the top comments. Not wrong. This is not your circus, these are not your monkeys. You have no biological or familial relationship with Amy or Bella, and you're not obligated to provide the forum for them to have whatever conversation they believe they need to have with your father, especially at Christmas around his family. Not wrong. But let me tell you something. I have a feeling they're going to show up anyway. Is there any way you can change the venue? Not related to judgment, but I just had to laugh at your dad's karmic justice. But I also will say he's being a jerk to them about it. I get that he's hurt, but they have a right to find their bio dad, and they shouldn't be punished for it. What he did was stone cold. I agree. I laughed to find out the cheater got cheated on, but felt bad for the girls who are caught by their parents' bad choices, and in the case of OP's dad, immature behavior. Moving all their stuff into storage and sending a letter. That's cold. Cold maybe, but I am betting that the money and college funds are the twins' primary reasons for wanting to talk. Well, then they're definitely wasting their time, because dad spent it. Next story. Am I wrong for trying to get my daughter to come back? Me 40 female and my ex 42 male split up a few years ago. When my ex moved back to Europe, my daughter 19 female was heartbroken. I've looked after her all on my own for years ever since he up and left. My daughter was always focused on her grades in school, so never paid attention to my relationship since the breakup. My daughter always helped me with my son 9 male since he was born. He is my current boyfriend's child. My daughter has never got along with my boyfriend. They constantly fight with each other. I just put it down to her being a teenager. I know she still talked with her father, but I never intervened on their conversations. However, once she turned 18, I had a huge birthday surprise planned for her with my boyfriend's help. I went to wake her up that morning as she was never a morning person, but she wasn't there. I started to freak out and began calling her nonstop. She never answered. I noticed her documents were missing from the family safe and started freaking out. I contacted my ex, and all he said was that my daughter was on her way over to him. I did get angry at him, asking him what he told my daughter in order for her to leave without notice. He just told me that he told her the truth. I kept questioning him, but he never answered after that. My daughter did text me after she landed, telling me to never speak to her again. I asked her what she was talking about. She told me that I already knew the reason why. I kept begging her to come back and that she made a mistake. That her father was lying to her, and the fact I raised her on my own for years without his help. She never responded to my texts. I follow her on social media and have seen her new posts with her father. They all include some petty caption of how he's been the only one there for her through thick and thin. She still won't speak to me and I just want her back. You're the idiot. Sounds like you parentified your daughter and got what was coming to you. Now that she's an adult, she can make her own choices. Unless you can provide more info to refute this. My daughter always helped me with my son 9 male since he was born. And she hated mom's boyfriend. My daughter has never got along with my boyfriend. They constantly fight with each other. I just put it down to her being a teenager. So it sounds like she let her boyfriend terrorize her daughter, didn't defend her daughter, and was more interested in using her daughter's service to care for her new child, rather than parenting her. I'm not clear on this. My daughter was always focused on her grades in school, so never paid attention to my relationship since the breakup. But that sentence makes it sound like OP ignored her daughter too. OP, you have your answer. You ignored your daughter, focused on your new boyfriend and your son. Insisted that your daughter care for your son. You let your boyfriend terrorize your daughter, and you wonder why she's gone no contact. You reap what you sow. You're the idiot. So your daughter got the hell away from you the instant she legally could, and you have no idea why. I suspect we are not getting the whole story here. Definitely not getting the whole story. OP knows something, and doesn't want to make herself look worse than she already does. There is a lot of missing information here, and I suspect you've left a lot out on purpose. A child doesn't go no contact with their parent for no reason. You said your daughter and boyfriend fight a lot, but chalk it off to her being a teen, which sounds to me like you take his side over hers. You've had her help with your son always, which she no doubt resented the whole time. I doubt she never paid attention to your relationships, plural it sounds like. How many men were in and out of her life during her childhood after being devastated when her father left the country? So far by cobbling this together, I'm going with you're the idiot. There were not many men. After I left my ex, I tried to get back into the dating scene. My daughter never cared or asked about who I was with. Until I met my now boyfriend, and she starts fighting with him. What did he do to her? What does she say he did to her? He manipulated her to believe I was unfaithful to him. I never cheated on my ex but believed every word he said. No, they were asking what your current boyfriend did to your daughter, not what you believe your ex did. The problem is coming from inside your house. Next story. Am I wrong for letting my sister's kids live with me? I 50s female, have a sister in her 40s, who sees herself as my family lives in a camper van Instagram influencer. In 2020, she, her husband, and their 4 kids moved into a camper. They homeschool the kids, travel all over the US, etc. They come to visit for holidays, but we don't see them besides that. My husband and I are the opposite. We have 4 kids and live in a big, beautiful house in Colorado. So the issue, my sister and her family came over for Thanksgiving and spent the night. My sister's oldest female 13 and male 13 twins slept in my daughter's and son's rooms with them. In the morning, my niece and my sister got into a big argument, with my niece being incredibly angry at her mother for making her live in a camper when she could have so much more space, not have to share so much with her brothers as they all sleep in the same area, and be able to have more clothes, friends, or extracurricular activities. I asked what was going on, and according to my sister, this has been an argument for a while. Money is not an issue, as they had a house before and sold it for a huge amount of money. My sister has a trust fund and a job, but she just likes living in a camper. After a brief conversation with my husband and my children, we offered in private to my sister to take my eldest niece in. We have extra guest rooms and could make one a bedroom for her. There are great schools in our area. We'd pay for everything for her, etc. She instantly said no, that she knew what was best for her daughter, that she would miss her siblings. We didn't mention it again. Well, my youngest female 13 told her cousin about the offer. She was very happy, but angry that her mother hadn't brought it up to her. She told my sister that if she made her come live in the camper again, she'd never do anything her mother wanted, because it was unfair that her mother wasn't letting her have a true childhood. While I don't condone tantrums like that, I understood where she was coming from and helped convince my sister. When her twin brother found out, he wanted to stay too. My sister asked him what she was supposed to do without them. How was she going to care for the younger siblings without them? Talking about missing out on family trips, etc. But nephew didn't change his mind. We agreed to a trial period of 3 weeks, which ended 3 days ago. My sister came back, fully expecting her kids to want to come back with her, but they flat out refused to even get in the camper. My sister got very angry. She said that I was supposed to make them want to live with her, and that I'm a horrible sister for treating her like this. She said I should kick them out. But I said no, and she said that I'm a massive jerk, and told her kids to not expect her to come back for them when they got tired of maximalism. Now her kids are sad, but they still don't want to leave, and I'm worried I've ruined my relationship with my sister. Am I wrong here? Edit. I have been told that the technical name of the vehicle I'm referencing is a motorhome. It's one of those large house on wheels thing. I thought they were called campers since that's what my sister always calls it. Someone in the comments mentioned I should add this here that we have temporary guardianship signed by my sister. Her husband came over after they left, and we filled out the power of attorney forms, got the things we need to put them in school, etc., and he took them back and had her sign them, so we should be all clear. My brother is an attorney, and he helped us with the forms as well. I can see why your sister may not like it, but I don't think the campervan life is suited to all. The idea of it would be horrifying to me, both as an adult and a teenager. And I suspect a lot of 13-year-olds want to have friends and hobbies that aren't just online. You brought up the idea in private, which is a good way to approach it. It's a shame your daughter wasn't able to keep it private, but truthfully I think she did the correct thing. My sister asked him what she was supposed to do without them. How was she going to care for the younger siblings without them? Talking about missing out on family trips, etc. This sounds like parentification, which is not a good thing for the twins. They should be living the life of a teenager, only helping to look after younger sibs or kids if they are paid babysitters, and only for a few hours a week if they want the extra money. You are not wrong. I thought that after the first paragraph, and the rest just confirmed it for me. All of my other kids are all 15, 17, and 18, so I think she got overexcited about having another girl in the house law. My sister did try to have them do activities and things like that. It was just hard since they were always moving around somewhere. You're right that it could have been parentification, but in truth, I also had my oldest watch his siblings once a month when they were younger, so that didn't occur to me. I think it will be beneficial for the nephew to have some brothers as well, as they may be able to introduce him to other activities. But in truth, I also had my oldest watch his siblings once a month when they were younger, so that didn't occur to me. I think once a month would not be considered parenting, more like babysitting, and I suspect you paid him, maybe not in money but at least in kind. She said care for the younger kids, which to me says it's more than a once a month favor. It may not be parentification, but it reads like it's on the path towards it to me. Last story. Am I wrong for telling my aunt that I'll put her in a nice nursing home? I 17 female, aunt 49 female, is pregnant with her second child. Yes, I typed that right, she is 49, and she did IVF. Yes, this is another story about her. I'm going through all of the college application stuff right now, and over a weekly Zoom call, my aunt started asking me and my mom some questions about all the paperwork and stuff we've had to do for me. My mom answered some of her questions, but realizing how confusing all of these are, my aunt laughed and said that it didn't matter because all of this will probably be different in 16 years when she has to do it for her kids. She then continued and went, OP will be in her 30s by the time my kid goes to college. It's good, she'll be all set up, so they don't have to worry about us. I have to admit I could have let that slide, but in my pure confusion, I asked her what she meant, and God, I wish I didn't. She explained that because she doesn't want her kids to worry about them. Because instead of college, it's good that I'll be a full adult with a career by then, so I can take that role. Now, this woman has been a witch to me in the very recent past, and I know that at this point I need to be the bigger person, so here's where I'm probably the bad person. Going against my mom's pleading face, I scoffed, raised my eyebrows, and went, yeah, I'll make sure to put you in one of the good nursing homes. I was very quickly ushered out of the room, and I could hear the ensuing fight from downstairs. My aunt and her husband are angry with me and claim that I don't care about my cousins at all, that I don't care about my family, and that I could have just shut my mouth. To be honest, I can see the latter part of their point. She's pregnant, she's raising a small child, and maybe I should have just shut my mouth. So guys, am I wrong? So, wait, is she saying that you, her niece, are her retirement policy? No, you have to shut that down. Seriously, not in the wrong here. Tell them early, often, and with witnesses that you are not responsible for supporting the decisions that two grown adults made when you were still a child. As the niece they are closest to, I am the designated care organizer for my child-free aunt and uncle. But they have the funds, all I'll have to do is coordinate, organize, and make decisions. Still hard, but no financial backing. So yeah, it happens more than people think, but normally just decisions, not funding. I handled my mother's care, medical people, treatment, paperwork, house maintenance, nursing home adjustment from 4 hours away. And it was exhausting, but at least she had the funds and I had family. I called it steward of the empire. It was only 10 months, but it was consuming. Not wrong, OP. She can't sign you up for her and her kids. Man, I'm child-free, but I have 3 nibblings, and I hope so much that they'll still be in my life when I'm old and alone. I've got the financial aspects all set up. I just silently hope they'll help me move into an old folks' home and visit me on my birthday. I find even that a lot to ask of people who will then be in their prime, probably with small children of their own, and who are absolutely not obligated to do anything for their aunt as they've got parents too. To think that this lady just plans on having her niece take care of her. Laughable. OP, not wrong.